All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Torah Studies. This is our weekly look at the Torah portion. This week, that is actually a misnomer. We're not looking at the Torah portion, we're looking at the Torah portions, plural, because, you guessed it, we've got a double whammy, Nitzavim-Vayelech. So, tonight, we have a very special dedication, as I mentioned. Merle Solomon is sponsoring tonight's class in loving memory of her father, Tzvi Hirsch Halevi ben Moshe. And this is his first yard site, and it certainly is a very special occasion. We know that the first yard site is the first opportunity that the neshama has to ascend, the first opportunity that it once again arrives on the day that it's completed its mission on earth, and it ascends with its first major aliyah, first major ascent up in Gan Eden. And indeed, Merle, your father's neshama soul should have an aliyah and be a good better, as they say in Yiddish, a good advocate on high for you and your husband and the whole mishpacha, and indeed bring blessings for the whole family and for the whole community. Let us say Amen. And I think it's very special that tonight we're dedicating the class, Merle's dad, this Torah class, because the Torah class tonight's class is about the Torah itself. And I think there's something very powerful about analyzing the power of Torah, but also how we all can relate to Torah and indeed have our own place within Torah. And you'll see what I mean as the class goes on. So if I were to ask you the question, what are some significant numbers in Judaism? What might you say? Significant number in Judaism?
1, 3, 7, 10.
1, 3, 7, 10. I don't
18.
know. Oh, those are numbers. 18. So we have 1 as a significant number. That's God. 3 would be what?
Got some forefathers.
Forefathers. Good. 7. What's 7? 7 is significant. 7. Creation. Days of creation. Good. What else? 10 is 10 commandments. 12. We have 12 tribes. I mean,
13.
Oh, that's the number I was looking for. Excellent.
What was that?
You're looking at my mental notes. 613. I was going to go up, but we would have taken a while. So thank you, Jay, for moving this process along. We now have fast forwarded all the way up to 613. 613, Chai is an important number, but 613 is the number that I want to speak about. We have a tradition, and the tradition goes back many years, thousands of years, that Torah contains 613 mitzvot. Now, here's the problem. Problem is that when you open up a Torah scroll, it's not numbered. It's not like number 1, number 2. No numbers in the margins. If you've ever looked inside a scroll, you know what I mean. There's not even punctuation, let alone a numbering system. So to discern the 613 mitzvot requires us to figure out what statements, what articulations, what commandments are considered to be a mitzvah or one of the 613 and what are not, because I'll just make it like hopefully super understandable. There are more than 613 statements in the Torah, right? There are more than 613 things that are said, that are stated in Torah, which means that you have conceptually 1,000 plus mitzvot. You have to whittle them down to 613. I mean, we're not trying to whittle, but what is that number?
So you have 10 commandments. 10 commandments. How many statements? 14.
Yeah, well, no, there were 15 originally. Remember 15. That? He dropped one. Remember he had 3 tablets? Mm-hmm. And he dropped, which movie was that? Remember that?
There was a Mel Brooks.
Mel Brooks film.
Yeah. History of the World.
He's got, what is it? Oh, History of the World.
History of the World.
Here are the 2 he drops in, the 2 tablets, or whatever, 10, 15, anyway. 15 out of 10 commandments. It's been a while. The point is that we know the 10 commandments; those are easy. That's a little easier to. It's a more finite text. It's a smaller text. The Torah itself is massive. So you have the great rabbis and the codifiers of Jewish law who are trying, and this happened like in the medieval times, trying to figure out, okay, what are the actual 613? Like what's like number 1 through 613, let's list them. And you have, and we know that there's 248 positive mitzvot and 365 negative, meaning 248 do's, do this, do that. 365 do nots, do not do this, do not do that. The numbers we know, but which are which, I mean, but what's counted, what's not counted, that's a subject of a lot of debate and conversation. Maimonides has a list. Other great rabbis have their own lists, and you can choose whichever list you want. That's okay. They're all holy. However, in all of the lists, the very last mitzvah, number 613, is always the same. And it's in the second of this week's portions. Number 613, out of 613. If this were artwork, it would be signed 613/613. Number 613 is the mitzvah to write a Torah scroll. Now, we're going to read this inside. We're going to look at the way the mitzvah is articulated in Torah itself. And we're going to see how Torah tells us about writing a Torah. And then we're going to ask a bunch of questions. So this is going to be text number 1. By the way, we had a class a few months ago about writing a Torah. That was a different class. If some things may sound familiar, it's because we had a class not that long ago about a similar topic. We're going to go in a bit of a different direction tonight. So, Yaakov, if you don't mind, please take it away. Text numeral uno.
And now write for yourselves this song and teach it to the children of Israel. Place it into their mouths in order that this song will be for me as a witness for the children of Israel.
God tells Moses, write for yourselves this song. Write for yourselves. Interesting. Write for yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
God tells Moses, yourselves, plural. That's like all y'all to one person. That's interesting. Okay. Lachem in Hebrew. Lachem, if you want to know the Hebrew word, lachem means plural, not lecha. Lachem. Not lecha means to you, singular. Lachem means to y'all, all y'all, right? Plural. And God says to Moses, write for yourselves this song. This song is referring to the Torah. Now, there is some conversation. Maybe the song is only referring to the very next Torah portion that we'll read next week, Hazinu. How do we know that it's the whole Torah? Anyway, there's commentators that discuss this, including the Ralbag, text number 2. Toba, please take it away.
It's clear that song here means the entire Torah, as the verse states just below. And it was when Moses finished writing the words of this Torah in a scroll until their very completion, Deuteronomy. This indicates that this song includes the entire Torah with the song of Hazinu as well. Further indication that it's the entire Torah is this verse. Take this Torah scroll and place it alongside the Ark of the Covenant of God.
There we go. So we have a few different notes or signs in the Torah that when God tells Moses that there's a mitzvah to write this song, it's not just one of the Torah portions, which is Hazinu, which is written actually as song, but it's really a reference to the entire Torah. The whole Torah is a song. And this is what Moses did on the last day of his life. He finished writing his Torah scroll. Now, I got to tell you something else. According to our tradition, listen to this. This is going to sound crazy. On the last day of his life, Moshe wrote 13 Torah scrolls. Now I know what you're thinking. Not possible. 13 Torah scrolls?
It's not possible not to eat for 40 days either.
Well, that's also true, right? But he did the Sinai diet. It's a whole new thing. Yeah. First, there was the South Beach diet. Then there was whatever. Anyway, Moses,
he couldn't start up there.
40 days, 40 nights not eating, that was big. But 13 Sefer Torahs to write them on one day, the last day of his life, like what does that even mean? So the understanding is that he had started them well before, right? This was not a one-day project, but he finished writing them in the last day of his life. But what did he finish writing? The entire Torah, 13 times. But let's just focus on one iteration. He finished writing the entire Torah, and thus, when the Torah says there's a mitzvah to write a Torah, to write the song, it doesn't just mean one Torah portion, Hazinu, which is next week's Torah portion. What it means is to write the entire Torah. That is the message. And that's mitzvah number 613. Mitzvah 613 out of 613 is to write it, to write it, to pay it forward almost, to write a Torah scroll, and to do that. Which begs the question, and the question we're going to ask Oh, wait, 1 second before the question. Wait, hold that thought. Let's take a look at see how Maimonides writes up this mitzvah. I'll read this one, text number 3. God commanded that everyone should write a Torah scroll for themselves. And if they write it, no, that's a typo. And if they write it with their hand, Scripture credits it to them as if they received it at Mount Sinai. But if it is impossible for them to write it, they should buy it or hire someone to write it for them. This is the meaning of the verse, write for yourselves the song, the idea that we should either write a Torah scroll ourselves or commission someone to write a Torah scroll on our behalf, which evokes the question. The question that we need to ask is, who does this? No one's doing this. We're not doing this. We're not writing Torahs. We're not, by and large, the number of people that are writing a Torah for themselves is very small. The number of people that commission a Torah scroll is larger than those that write their own Torah scroll for themselves. But it's also a relatively small number. And in fact, throughout Jewish history, we don't find this to be a major push or a major campaign, people writing or commissioning Torah scrolls. So what is going on? How could this mitzvah be neglected as such? It doesn't seem to make sense. Now, the obvious answer is, well, Torah scrolls are expensive. As of right now, it's interesting. Like COVID, inflation also hit the stam market. Stam is Sefer Torah, Tefillin, mezuzahs. It also hit that market. Now, like a mezuzah, price has gone up. Tefillin, price has gone up. Sefer Torah, we're talking about a new Torah scroll. If you commission a Torah scroll today, it's probably going to be upwards of $60,000. Yeah, legit. You could buy a secondhand Torah. That's something else. That'll be obviously less expensive. But if you're commissioning a new Torah scroll, you're looking at upwards of $60K. That's the current market price. My point is that the simple answer might be, well, the cost is prohibitive and it can't be done. But although that's a technical answer, there seems to be have been relatively very little energy behind or push behind historically this idea of learning how to write your own Torah, writing your own Torah, commissioning a Torah scroll. It doesn't seem to be a major push, and the question is why. So what we're going to do is we are going to, and to augment the question, to make the question even stronger, here's what else is crazy. When God tells Moses this mitzvah number 613, and Moses tells it to the Jewish people, right? I already told you before what happened on that last day of his life. What did he do? What did Moses do?
He
wrote a Torah. Yeah, well, he finished 13 Torahs. But guess who didn't at all write a Torah on that day? The Jewish people. Which means that even when they first got the mitzvah, it wasn't like, let's get down to business. Yeah. Moses, let's all pull out our collective quills and we'll all help chip in with the last few sections of Torah. That's not what happened. Moses wrote it, and that was it. Text number 4. Yaakov, 1 second, please read text number 4. Take it away.
And Moses wrote this song on that day, and he taught it to the children of Israel.
There's one guy writing, and everyone else is listening. And that seems to be the way that things have worked historically. People, you have relatively few people are writing, and then everyone else is kind of is not involved in the act of writing of a Torah scroll. And the question is, why not? If it's a mitzvah, a lot of mitzvahs are difficult to do or complicated to do, and we do them and we do our best and whatever. But when it comes to this mitzvah, why don't we find a push? And so again, this is a topic that it comes up often. It came up a few months ago in this class. We're going to take a bit of a different angle tonight. It's a topic also that the Rebbe spoke about on many occasions, asking pretty much the same question that we just asked now, and gave different answers different times because there's different perspectives, different ways to look at it. The angle we're going to take tonight, I think, is very cool, and it fits with the theme of the first of the Torah portions. And the theme of the first portion, there's Nitzav, this week is Nitzavim and Vayelech. Nitzavim begins the first 2 verses of Nitzavim. Atem Nitzavim Hayom Kulchem Lufnei Hashem Elokechem. You are all, Moses says to the people on the last day of his life. This is the 7th day of Adar in the year 2488 from creation. This is Moses' 120th birthday. He's 120 years old. And he gathers the people. He had gathered them for 37 days, as we've talked about this for the last month or two, throughout Deuteronomy. He gathered them every single day for 37 days and spoke to them, from morning until late afternoon. This was the last day of his life, and he knew it. He knew it was his birthday, the last day of his life. A tzaddik, they say, lives complete years. And he says, Atem Nitzavim Hayom Kulchem, you are all standing here today, together before God, from the heads of your tribes, your leaders, to the every person, men, women, children, the elderly, the young, the resident, the convert, the wood shopper, the water carrier. Everyone is standing here. And he lists all these different categories. Says everyone standing here together before God to once again renew our commitment to God's covenant. That is how Nitzavim, the first of the two portions. They're both actually very short. The first of the two portions, that's how it opens, which means that it highlights the notion of unity. Atem Nitzavim Hayom Kulchem. We're all standing here together. And we know there's a beautiful teaching. It's a beautiful teaching of the Chassidic masters that says that we always read the portion of Nitzavim, whether alone or in combination like this year, we always read it on the Shabbat before Rosh Hashanah. And what is it that earns us the blessing that we all ask for in Rosh Hashanah, which is a year of life, a year of health, a year of blessing, prosperity, nachas, etc. We have all the blessings that we personally ask for and collectively ask for. What is it that we can do to ensure that we get that bracha, that we get the blessing that we ask for? It's by standing together. Atem Nitzavim Hayom Kulchem. It's by standing together. It's when we're split apart. It's when there's disunity. Disunity is not a vessel that contains blessing. Imagine someone's ready to pour a l'chaim. Let's just say l'chaim. But you're holding a cup with a hole in it. It's going to happen to l'chaim. It's going to go all the way through. Hashem wants to pour us blessings, right? L'chaim means the life. I don't mean alcohol. I mean life, actual blessings of life. But we have to come in with a vessel that is whole, that has integrity, right? That is cohesive. If we have a vessel that's broken, it's not good. So the key to the blessings is unity amongst all of us, is when we stand strong together. That's the key to spiritual blessings. That's the key to physical blessings. It's the key to national security. A nation that's broken apart, we think about Israel, and we pray for Israel's security. A nation that is splintered, that is fractured. We've spoken about this countless times over the last 11 months, almost 12 months now. Countless times, the key to our strength is standing strong together. Now, with this in mind, we have a little bit of insight into the question about the Torah scroll, because like this notion that I just said, the key is about standing together. So take a look at text number 5.
Right.
This is going to be,
The phrase "all of you who are alive are standing here today." Where is that? Because that's a strange.
Alive. That's a different verse. That's not this verse.
Yeah.
That's Chaim Kulchem Hayom. We'll look it up.
Uh-huh.
Well, it's in the Siddur. We'll look it up. It's from Scripture, but it's in liturgy also.
I don't even know what that means. It's kind of self.
It's you who are alive today. In other words, if you're living today, you got to do this. It's like it's a way of grabbing attention. Yeah, it's like you're here. Great, let's talk. That's kind of the angle. The point is about unity and connection. Tova, please read text number 5. This is from the Code of Jewish Law regarding the obligation for a community, and you'll see. I'll connect all the dots in a second. For a community to possess a Torah scroll. Go for it.
The town's inhabitants can compel one another to build a synagogue and purchase a Torah scroll along with the other scriptures, so that anyone from the community can come and read from it.
Here we have the kernel of the approach we're going to take tonight. A Torah scroll, like a synagogue, is communal property. It is purchased on behalf of the community. Our question was, why don't we find a major push throughout the centuries about people writing their own Torah scrolls, or people commissioning? Certainly people do commission Torah scrolls, but that's typically not for their personal use. It's typically for the synagogue. So what's going on? How come people don't write for themselves? Right? The Torah says, write for yourself a Torah scroll. What's going on? How does that work? Why don't we find people writing for themselves a Torah scroll, or commissioning for themselves a Torah scroll? The answer is, we have a Torah scroll in the synagogue. And the synagogue or the community's, the synagogue's Torah scroll is a Torah scroll that exists on behalf of the community, which almost, as we'll see as we develop these texts, which thereby grants ownership of that Torah scroll to every member of the community. Take a look at text number 6, a beautiful insight from the Nefesh Chaya. Beautiful insight, this next text, written very powerfully. I would suggest, says the Nefesh Chaya, that when the community or any other group commissions a Torah scroll to be written on their behalf, that constitutes fulfilling the mitzvah of now write for yourselves. Writing the scroll and then reading from it is a legitimate form of carrying out this mitzvah. That's powerful. This is the clear solution in my mind to justify the long-standing tradition. By commissioning a scroll for the community, they fulfill the mitzvah. So we ask the question, why doesn't every individual write a scroll, commission a scroll? And the answer is, because when a scroll, a Torah scroll, is commissioned for the community, every member of the community fulfills the mitzvah. That's how it works. But let's dig a little bit deeper. Let's dig a little bit deeper, because at the end of the day, it's nice to say this, the community scroll is your scroll, so your mitzvah to write a Torah is fulfilled, is discharged by, you have an obligation, I have an obligation, we all have an obligation to write a Torah scroll, to have that written for us or by us. And so what we say is, come on in. What we say is, no, you don't worry about your personal obligation, because it's going to be fulfilled by the Torah, by the community having the Torah, right? By the community having, commissioning, or somebody donating it to the community or to a synagogue, that discharges the obligation of every member of the community. And that's how the individual fulfills the mitzvah. So, Yaakov, how do you fulfill the mitzvah of writing a Torah scroll? Do you have to write it? Do you have to commission it? You could, but you can also be part of a community that has a Torah scroll. The Torah scroll was written or commissioned on behalf of the community. You're part of the community. It's your Torah scroll. That's the simple answer. But if we probe a little bit deeper, we could ask. It's nice to say. It sounds nice. It sounds feel good. But at the end of the day, it's not your Torah. You didn't write it. You didn't commission it. So how does it actually work? And so I want to get into the halachic mechanics of this, of what makes a communal Torah scroll actually yours. In other words, what makes it the individuals? And we're going to come to a really beautiful parallel. And the parallel we're going to look at is the mitzvah of the Daled Minim. It's actually coming up soon. It's a Sukkot mitzvah. As we know, in the holiday of Sukkot, we have two primary mitzvot. Number one is to build a sukkah. A sukkah is a temporary hut that we live in. Well, live depending on your custom. Some people sleep in a sukkah. Some people don't sleep in the sukkah, but they'll eat in the sukkah. Certainly, the mitzvah is to eat in the sukkah, entertain guests. You know, you have people over, you eat in the sukkah, and it's beautiful. You got your walls, you got your schach on top. I love saying schach. Really clears everything up, and that's it. 8 days. Well, it's a 7-day holiday plus one, and it's a beautiful Yom Tiv in which we celebrate the sukkah and being out there with God. That's mitzvah number one. Mitzvah number two, the second mitzvah, the second Sukkot related mitzvah is the Daled Minim, is the four kinds. What are the four kinds? The four kinds are the four plants. You ever see somebody walking down the street with what looks like a giant asparagus, as it were, right? No, neither have I. But that's what they say. They say it looks like a giant, right? You got your lulav, your palm frond, you got your esrog, your citron, you have your hadas, your myrtle, and you have your arava, the willow. In fact, we had a class recently where we went through all four of these and we analyzed it. The point is that this is the mitzvah. However, when you look at the text, we find something interesting. Yaakov, we're gonna ask you once again to read text number 7. Look carefully at the words. You can read the English, but I'm going to analyze the Hebrew soon.
And you shall take for yourselves on the first day the fruit of the hadar tree, date palm fronds, a branch of a braided tree, and willows of the brook. And you shall rejoice before God for a 7-day period. So
here you go. These are the four kinds. The fruit of the hadar tree, that's the esrog. Day palm fronds, the lulav. A branch of a braided tree are the hadassim. And willows of the brook are the aravas. Great. And it's yours for a low price of, well, it can go upwards of hundreds of dollars. But what's interesting is, look at the word, ulekachtem lachem, the Hebrew. Look at the second word, lachem. Ulekachtem lachem, and you shall take for yourselves. Lachem means plural, for y'all, right? Plural, not just for you individually, for all of you. And that means every individual should have a lulav, an esrog, hadassim, and aravos. Everyone's supposed to have these 4 things for the holiday, etc. Great, that's the mitzvah. If you notice that word lachem, if you look all the way back, I don't know what happened there. If you look all the way back to text number 1, you'll notice the 3rd word is very similar. Ve'ata kisvu lachem es asher azos. It's the same word lachem. Lachem and lachem. It's the same word to you, for you. All of you should. This is the mitzvah, the last mitzvah of the Torah. Writing a Torah scroll also said lachem, which means individually you should write yourselves a Torah scroll. Now, we just said it's discharged by the community having the scroll. So it's okay. The community has a scroll. It's like it's your scroll. But now we're going to find the parallel. Because here's what you might not know. What you might not know is that throughout Jewish history, not at all times and not in all places, did everyone have their own lulav, esrog, hadassim, and aravos. You can imagine that there were many times, many time periods, many eras, many locales in which it was impossible. It just was not possible for every member of the community to have their own set of these 4 species. Now, why? On a simple level, it's because sometimes there was no money. There was no money for the average individual to be able to, for the regular community member to afford these this mitzvah. On another level, sometimes you couldn't import, depending on where you lived, you couldn't import enough esrogim for everyone. And esrog doesn't grow. Sorry to say this, a tree, one, may grow in Brooklyn, but an esrog certainly does not grow in Poland. Guaranteed, an esrog does not grow in Poland. And so where do you get an esrog from? You live in Poland, you live in Hungary, you live in Russia, you live in Ukraine, right? Where are you getting an esrog from? Italy. Later in Israel. You have to import this. What does this shipping look like? I know we're all spoiled. Today, there's Instacart. If Instacart takes more than 45 minutes, I'm demanding a refund in the app. That's number 1. Then you have Amazon Prime, right? Amazon Prime, Amazon Now, you have all these things where same-day delivery, we're going to charge you. How much? $2.99. $2.99? And I can get it in 3 hours? What a bargain. What a machaya. I would love to haggle, but I don't even know what I'm haggling about, right? $2.99 pays for nothing. What are you going to... $2.99 is a water bottle almost. I mean, at the Braves game, my kids are at the game tonight. I hope the Braves win. Very excited about going up to this game tonight. Mets, like huge divisional series here going on. My kids are like, it's like a playoff game. I'm like, okay, you had me at playoffs. Anyway, like, you know how much a bottle of water costs at a Braves game? Probably $6.50, between $6 and $7. Legit. I'm like, there's got to be. Remember that old Spaceballs movie? Who remembers Spaceballs? Right, Perry Air. Right, you remember that? Oh, guys, you got to watch. We should do a viewing of Spaceballs.
Of a goofy movie night?
Someone jammed the radar. Raspberry. There's only classic one. Classic. I feel like I could write this stuff. Anyway, back to the story. We should
Pizza the Hut.
Pizza the Hut, yes. Pizza the Hut. So good.
Pizza the Hut. That's a
Pizza
classic.
the Hut. Instead of Java. David from Alabama. Yeah, I don't think you've met him.
Mm-hmm.
David and I met up in New York a few months ago. So, no, I intentionally go off track. It makes things way more interesting for me because now I have to figure out where I got off track. Oh, back to the story. So now the Torah says you have to have lakatam lachem. You have to have your lachem. You individually have to have a lulav, an esrog, hadas, and rava. You can't. I can't afford it. I don't have one. They don't exist. What do you want me to do? So back in the day, what happened? The shul, the synagogue, had one, or the community had one for everyone. A communal lulav, esrog, hadas, a communal set. Now, if you were someone of means and someone that could import it, or you had connections, you know a guy that knows a guy from Italy, don't ask any questions. Guy with a shark skin suit, right? He's got some esrogim in his jacket. Oh, yeah, absolutely. You know that, like, right? Got some esrogim. It's like, right, etc. Right?
Without teaching.
Yeah, exactly. All right, with or without. Without. Let me crack that off for you. No, that's not a thing. So
had it in a violin case?
what do you say? The lulav in the violin case? Yes, absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Right.
Who said that?
That's Jay. So we need to broadcast everywhere. That way everyone can see everybody. That was good. So Jay, you got thumbs up, just so you know. They had one set for everybody. Now here's the question. One second. Here's the question. Do you fulfill the mitzvah? Torah says you should have take your lulav esrog hadasarav, take it on day one of Sukkot. And the rest of the days you also rabbinically you do it. But it says you should take yours, lachem means yours, but you don't have one. Do you fulfill the mitzvah by using a communal one? The answer is absolutely. Let's see this inside. Text number 8. Who just read? You read?
All right.
All right, Rich, do you want to read?
Sure.
All right, hold on one second. Let me pull it up first. Text number 8. Look at the Rashbam. By the way, he wrote this in 1085. He was born in 1085, passed away 1158. We're talking about almost 1,000 years ago. This is not newfangled stuff. This is 1,000. America is 250 years old. Just putting it in context. 1,000 years ago, this is what Jewish law says.
Thank you. Our custom is for every community to make the blessing over one etrog, as every community member agrees to gift their portion of ownership in the etrog to the individual on condition that it's returned. Even if they don't explicitly stipulate it as such, we consider it as if they did. After all, the entire community would certainly be one mind to grant conditional ownership to each member so they can make the blessing.
Isn't that beautiful? The community purchases an esrog, and it says esrog, but it means the other stuff. The esrog is the most expensive piece. It's the hardest piece to get. Anyway, the community purchases the esrog, lulav hadasarav, and has a set. Whoever wants can use it, and it's a given that when the community buys it, it's for everyone. What's the synagogue buying it for? Who's the private owner of the synagogue? It doesn't belong to anyone. The synagogue belongs to the people. It belongs to the community. So what the synagogue has is communal property. So, and what does it mean, communal property? Again, this is very important. The Torah doesn't say that the community should have an esrog. It says that Ari should have an esrog. Richard should have an esrog, right? It says that the individual should have an esrog. But I don't have an esrog. You do have an esrog. No. It's the community's esrog. No, the community's esrog is your esrog. That's the chiddush. That's the mind-blowing piece of it. It's not just that the community has it and you can use it. It's that the community has it means that you have it individually. Now, you have to then, when you're done with it, it then goes, it's assumed, it's understood that it goes back into the community domain until the next person takes it and uses it, and then it's theirs. But the point is, something that's owned by the community is by a synagogue community, it's a Jewish community, is essentially owned by every individual. And now we can apply this. Wait.
Visible interest.
It's what?
The visible interest.
Is that the
Yeah.
financial term? The visible interest. There you go. And let's see this in Jewish law. Toba, please read text number 9. Same idea, but this is not in the commentaries. This is in actually bottom line Jewish law, text 9.
The prevalent custom today in a situation where there aren't many etrogim available is that the community purchases one communal etrog. The logic is that as much as the community wishes to fulfill their obligation with this etrog, it's as if they have clearly stipulated that each member conditionally grants their partial ownership to anyone who wishes to fulfill the mitzvah.
Isn't that beautiful? It's not just that the communal esrog or etrog belongs to everyone. It's as if each member conditionally grants their partial ownership. Each member has a partial ownership. Yeah, it's your community. Yeah, it's like the Green Bay Packers. Any football fans here? Right? Owned by the fans.
Yeah.
You guys with me on that reference? Yeah, right. It's every. I met someone recently. He's like, I own the Green Bay Packers. I'm like, I almost also. I mean,
Publix.
It's Publix is owned by that place. Really? Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
That's how the family got out of it.
Ah, so till today.
There's a whole.
It's a whole mechanism by which that works.
It's really interesting. I'll tell you.
All right. So here we go. So the point is that when the shul, when the synagogue or community, whatever you want to call it, buys the etrog on behalf of the community, what it means is that every member owns it. And every member, of course, is willing to let the other member use it because it's theirs. And I say, I'm going to give for the moment, temporarily, I'm going to relinquish my piece of it so that when you use it, it's completely yours. It's no strings attached. It's yours on condition that when you're done with it, it goes back into the community, property, as it were. And then the next one uses it, and that's how it's done. This is how, for centuries, I tell this to people all the time, and I think I'm right. I don't believe that ever in Jewish history were there as many lulav etrog sets in circulation. There's not even a chance. I mean, it's affordable. There's more demand. It's just a thing. It's like there's an order form. There still is an order form. Order your thing. You just click of a button, you order it. Someone ships it here, and you're ready to go. It's crazy how easy it is and how accessible it is. Back in the day, in some small communities, there was one for the entire community. That was the norm. We just see it in the Code of Jewish law. And this was a normal course of events that people would not have their own. And so here's the connection, and here's the big idea. As we bring it back, we're using the etrog as kind of the paradigm or the archetype to bring it back for the Torah. There's a mitzvah that everyone should write a Torah scroll, but not everyone does. Not everyone can. The big idea here is that when the synagogue has a Torah scroll, and how does a synagogue get a Torah scroll? Either it commissions collectively a Torah scroll to be written, or someone donates a Torah scroll to the community, to the synagogue. At that point, when the synagogue has the scroll, who owns it? The implication, like the etrog, is everybody. It's everybody's Torah. And it's not everybody's Torah in the sense that it's a collective Torah. So it's not really mine. It's just the community's. So it's like, it's none of us. It's another entity called the community. No. There's no such thing when it comes to mitzvah items that it's the communities. When we say the communities, it means it's mine, it's yours, it's every individual's. So that when they read from the synagogue on Shabbat, it's your Torah scroll that's being read from. That's the beauty. Now, 1 second. When it comes to an esrog and a lulav, we can say that when you grab it, when you take it and you say the blessing, you shake it, then it becomes yours. What happens with the Torah scroll? The Rebbe says in a similar way, if you get called to the Torah as an aliyah, for getting called to the Torah, to say the blessing, when you step up to the Torah and you hold on to the poles and you say that blessing, in that moment, it's yours. It's yours. Now give it back afterwards. Yeah, right. You're not going to get far with the Torah scroll, just saying. But in that moment, you get called to the Torah. In that moment, that is when you, just like when you would say the blessing over the esrog, the lulav, etc. That would be the moment that you have it and that it's yours. And then same thing as when you get called to the Torah. That is when it is yours. So obviously, it's a special experience. It's not just, we call it an aliyah, right? An aliyah. It's not just the soul elevation, but it's also that now there's a tight connection between the individual that gets called to the Torah and the Torah scroll itself and the ownership thereof. Now, let's take a look at the story, the way it plays out on the last day of Moshe's life. Okay, and I'm going to read text number 10. I mentioned this already a few times before, earlier tonight, but now we're going to kind of connect all the dots. Text number 10, this is the Midrash. Rabbi Yanai said, I quoted this before, on that day, Moses wrote 13 Torah scrolls, one for each tribe, and another to stow away in the Holy Ark. Again, that's not possible.
Long day.
That's a very long day. He didn't write from scratch. He finished. They were being written the whole time, and he finished. You know, how long is a concluding ceremony of writing a Torah scroll? I mean, it depends on how elaborate, how fancy, how much you leave to write. It could take 5 minutes. It could take an hour. It could take, depending on how much you leave, how much space you leave. According to most opinions, Moshe was writing a Torah scroll. These Torah scrolls continuously as the commandments came in and as the stories happened. He was writing. At Sinai, he wrote up everything up until then, and then he continued writing throughout the 40 years in the desert. And then it came to the last day of his life, and he wrote the last day's events, and that was it.
Many months was a lot more, just filled in.
Say it again.
So.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
the ones who are-
Yeah. And many, well, the reason why, so let me just repeat that. So if you go to a Torah completion ceremony and you get the tremendous merit of helping or even
Just-
writing it in, writing the last letters, the way they do it, because
They hold your hand, right?
no, they actually outline it.
They outline.
They outline it, and all you do is fill it in with the special ink and the
Even
special.
now, it's the sofa really does it. You just-
The sofer also wants to make sure, because if like
Yeah.
there's no room for error over there. You can't like you don't want to botch that. That would be
It's
super
not
awkward.
kosher.
Correct. I mean, you could fix it, but
I
no one.
actually did do a letter.
Yeah,
It was, it
You wrote
was
one?
real,
yeah.
a letter.
Yeah.
You with your hand, you wrote it?
Yeah.
Because I've seen them, generally the chauffeur just kind of moves your hand around so that you stay.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's usually done in tandem, slightly in tandem, so that you're not like. But there's,
It was a long time ago.
yeah, they're probably usually the scribe is making sure that it's done, but they
How long does
will
it take?
outline it. How long does it take? About a
For
year.
a whole tour, a year.
About a year. Yeah.
Rabbi,
Yes.
Rabbi, is there actually a significance to the number 13? Why did Moshe write 13 Torahs?
So the Medrash says that he did one for each of the 12 tribes.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah. So one for
Thank-
each. And but it's very important. He gave every tribe a copy of the Torah, not a copy, a Torah scroll. By the way, that was a lesson, important lesson in and of itself. But I will get back to that in a second. And then the 13th, there was a mitzvah to put one, well, either in the ark or on a ledge that they built. There's actually a dispute in the Talmud as
Yeah,
to whether
whatever
it
fit.
needed to go in the ark. No, it might have been smaller. In the ark, or maybe they built a ledge and it was on the ledge outside. That the deeper insight is that, anyway, let's forget the deeper insight for right now. And the point is that was the 13th scroll. What's interesting is you could ask the question, well, why did each tribe need their own scroll? Maybe they could have just had one scroll for the entire nation. The message is that there is something about individual customs. Every tribe has their own Torah, right? It's not like one for all. It's tailored tribe by tribe. So if we were to apply it nowadays, it would be that everyone has their place within Torah. Everyone has their space. But I want to get back to this beautiful text number 11. Okay, here we go. Take a look at text number 11. And here we have hold on. We have a text from the Ar Sameach, Rabbi Meir Simcha Tzvitsk. Okay, he writes the following, text 11. A plain reading of the verse, virtually shouts, declares that immediately after God's command to transcribe this song and teach it to his children, Moses immediately carried out, and Moses wrote the song and taught it. We clearly see that by writing 13 Torah scrolls on the day he died, Moses carried out the mitzvah of write for yourselves the song. Now, our sages derive from this verse that every individual must write a Torah scroll. However, the verse shouts at us that Moses carried it out for everyone with his own transcription. In other words, here we see literally from the narrative of the Torah and from the Midrash, text 10 that we just read a few minutes ago, that Moses says to the people, you all have to write a Torah. And then that mitzvah is discharged by Moshe writing the Torah, which means that, again, when he writes it on behalf of the community, it then becomes not just communal property, but it really belongs and is owned by every individual. That being said, so let's pause here for a second, because there's one additional piece to this that's powerful. So just to kind of summarize everything we've done up until now, before we do the last leg of the journey, there's one lap left to this conversation. We started off by mentioning that mitzvah number 613 is the mitzvah to write a Torah scroll. And then we asked the question, so how come we don't do it? By and large, we don't do it. And even if we do commission a Torah, it's typically for the community and for a synagogue. We're not writing for ourselves. And the mitzvah is write for yourself a Torah scroll. Who does that? And why aren't we doing it? And we've now explained, to cut all the way to the answer, we've now explained that indeed, when a community, when a synagogue has a Torah scroll, it's not owning it. It's not the synagogue scroll. It's not the community scroll. It's your scroll. It's my scroll. It belongs to the individual. Just like a lulav and an esrog that is purchased by a community or procured by a community on behalf of its members. And so that when everyone picks it up, it's your lulav. It's because the Torah says it has to be yours. It is 100% yours, even though you didn't buy it. The same thing is true with the Torah scroll. It's 100% yours because it was procured, whether it was purchased or donated, whatever, but it's on your behalf, it's yours. You have the ownership of that Torah, along with everyone else in the community. However, but in addition to this, this is now the last leg. In 1981, now we know that throughout the years from 1967, before the 6-Day War, the Rebbe launched a number of mitzvah campaigns. And these were campaigns to kind of get the energy going with a specific mitzvah. So in 1967, the campaign was to wrap tefillin. And that was the tefillin campaign. And then you had the Shabbat candle campaign, and you had the tzedakah campaign, and you had the Jewish book campaign, and you had the kosher campaign. There were lots of campaigns throughout the years. All of these are mitzvot, but the Rebbe made a push. Let's go, everyone. Let's make a push for this mitzvah. In 1981, the Rebbe launched another campaign. The campaign was that every child, every Jewish child, should purchase a letter in a Torah scroll. This was never done before. The Rebbe said, here's how we're going to do it. We're going to write, we're going to commission, and starting today, we're going to commission what's called the children's Sefer Torah, the children's Torah scroll. A Torah scroll has 304,000 something letters, around 300,000 letters. And we'll start writing this Torah, and every child should have a letter. Costs $1. You $1. You pay $1. You get your name in the Torah. They take down your name. You get a certificate of where your letter is. And in this way, not only is the Torah yours because the community purchased it and they did so with you in mind, but you are literally purchasing a piece of the Torah scroll for the low price of $1, which is a low price, right? $1, and you get your own letter in the Torah scroll.
Well,
And then,
this to be funny, but is that where you got the dollars he gave up?
no. Got those from the bank. that was later. The dollar started later.
5,000.
Right. That's now. So listen to this. Now the next piece of it is this went very well, and there's been now, I don't know how many, but a number of these. You finish one, you start the next one. Many, maybe a dozen plus children's children Torah scrolls. Then the Rebbe said, let's do this for adults, because why should adults not have a letter in the Torah scroll? And this was the general Torah scroll for everybody, for all ages, not just for kids. And this is a tremendous way to complete the mitzvah. So what we're going to do is, let's take a look at one or two texts, and then we will close it out. Text number 14. Okay, before we get there, very important. Why is writing a Torah scroll so important? It's the last mitzvah. And so the Rebbe says that since it's the last mitzvah of Torah, in the Torah, it becomes almost like the final frontier, right? That's kind of the energy. It's the last mitzvah. So this is a mitzvah that we can say is the last mitzvah to bring Mashiach. The last mitzvah to bring a better world, to create a better world, is this push to write a Torah, to be part of a Torah, to be part of a unity Torah, etc. Text 14 is a beautiful text that speaks to Jewish unity and speaks to this theme of togetherness of Nitzavim-Vayelech and the Torah, as we discussed tonight. Every mitzvah in the Torah achieves unity among the Jewish people. Still, that this campaign of communal Torah scrolls achieves a superior form of unity, for it brings Jews together through the act of writing a Torah scroll and bequeathing a unique letter to each Jew, as we'll explain. But first, let's explore the idea that the Torah is what possesses the power to unite the Jewish people. When a Jew is told that he or she must unite with every other Jew, from the heads of tribes to the wood hewers and water drawers, one cannot help but ask, how is this even possible? The gap between heads of tribes and wood hewers and water drawers is quite extreme. So how is it possible to unite with both a head of tribe and a wood hewers and water drawers? They're polar opposites. The answer is that only the infinite Torah has the power to unite all Jewish people, from the heads of tribes to the wood hewers and water drawers, despite the vast distance between them. This helps us understand just how great is the unity achieved through a tangible action. There are many other practical mitzvot that achieve the same result, but there's a unique quality to the unity achieved through every Jew purchasing a letter in the Torah scroll. For, as just explained, the entire notion of unity among Jews is achieved only through the power of Torah. And so here we go. Here are the links. If you want, you can check it out. The general Torah scroll, figure 1, is at that link, that URL, chabad.org/409282. And the children's Torah scroll is at kidstorah.org. buy a letter. I'm sure kidstorah.org is going to have what you need to make that happen. So if you know of a child that never got, or anyone that never, as of yet, has received a letter or purchased a letter in the Torah Scroll, now's the time. It's a great time. If anybody wants the link, and I know I just closed it, you can email me or just Google the Children's Torah Scroll or the General Torah Scroll or whatever. Buy a letter in a Torah Scroll. You'll get a good Chabad link. You'll find the right place to do it, and you will get a certificate. I bought for all my kids, and you will get a certificate of which Torah portion your letter is, and you'll know that you're part of not just the mitzvah of buying a Torah Scroll, which is mitzvah number 613, but also part of this collective unity vis-a-vis Torah. We know that our identity as a people is only due to Torah. We don't have what binds us as a people is Torah. We don't always speak the same language. We don't eat the same food. We don't wear the same clothes. We have all different traditions, not only throughout history, but even today. A Jew from Morocco and a Jew from Brazil and a Jew from New York City, they may have different traditions and customs to varying degrees. But it doesn't matter because we have one Torah. That's the one thing we have. That's only one. There's only one Torah. There's never been another version of Torah. It doesn't exist. And so when we unite through Torah, we unite with what is, and through what is authentically Jewish, what is authentically ours. And so it's my hope and my wish that we all recognize the beauty of this mitzvah number 613, to write a Torah scroll, to recognize the power of community that acts and exists on behalf of each one of us individually, and to also take the measure of purchasing the letter in the Torah scroll and make our mark on a Torah scroll. And of course, if someone wishes to commission a Torah scroll and gift it to a community, to a synagogue, that is certainly a tremendous mitzvah. But all of us can indeed, at the very least, purchase a letter in the Torah scroll and encourage others to do so. All right. So my blessing for all of us is let's unite through Torah, and let's unite with each other. And through this, we'll be blessed with a ksiva v'chsima tova l'shana tova b'sukkah, to be written and inscribed for good, for a happy and healthy, sweet new year. And let us say, Amen.
Amen.
That concludes tonight's class. As an announcement, as a scheduling announcement, next week we are starting our High Holiday Boot Camp. Now, High Holiday Boot Camp is a fancy word for Torah studies. I'm saying it's basically Torah studies, but instead of looking at the Torah portion, we're going to look at the holidays. So next week we have a Rosh Hashanah class. The topic is making change, and no, I'm not talking about you give a dollar bill in your ass, right? Making change. Lesson 2 is the week after that is about Yom Kippur, revealing your truth. Lesson 3 is Sukkot, unlocking joy. 3 Tuesday evenings, right? Tuesday nights, 7:30 to 8:30, October 1st, 8th, and 15th. Join us and invite your friends. It'll be a lot of fun. Sorry?
It's gonna be good classes.
No push-ups, no spandex necessary.
No boots in this.
You don't have no boots, no camp, no counselors. Can you imagine? None of this is actually accurate. The only thing that's accurate is High Holiday, and it's not even on the high holidays. Right.
Most people aren't even high.
Oh, Richard asked, can the synagogue buy some Lamborghinis? Collective Lamborghinis.
Yeah.
When you drive it, it's yours for that moment, as long as you return it in good condition.
If you own
I don't know. You have to. That's yeah.
There's a lot of importance around individual ownership of lulav and esrog. So if an individual can loan you the lulav and esrog, is that like frowned upon? Or?
One second. You're asking a very good question, and this is a halachic question. Yaakov is asking. I think you're asking, how does it work when an individual, right, owns a lulav and esrog and someone wants to borrow it? So here's what happens. You have to do it as a matana amanas lahachzir. In other words, if I own the lulav and esrog and you want to borrow it, I have to stipulate that I'm giving it to you as a gift, which means that you own it, because it's not communal, it's implied. That was the whole idea tonight. Communal is implied. But if it's if it's personal and you want to borrow it personally, you cannot use a borrowed lulav. You have to own it. I probably should have emphasized that before. You can't just borrow a lulav. You have to own it. But you don't own it. I own it. I have to give it to you as a gift, which means it's now yours, on condition that after you're done with it, you give it back to me. And if you don't, then from the beginning, I never gave it to you. You with me retroactively, we undo that. So it's called a matana, a gift. It's a conditional,
Temporary.
but it's full on transfer of ownership on condition with the stipulation that you're going to transfer back to me. That's the hook. That's the key.
You have to say them when you give it.
You have to have the
it's on
intention,
condition.
and most people will say matana masas. I'm giving it to you as a gift on condition you give it back. That's what the Hebrew means. By the way, we have a Beis Medrash night now, 8:30. We're starting an hour every Tuesday. We're bringing people in. We're gonna have a full house. Are the guys here? Yeah. All right, perfect. Yeah, we have sushi.
The oldest Torah.
We have sushi. I have 200 pieces of sushi.
This isn't for women. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
We don't turn anyone away, especially not the sushi. Not for the sushi.
The oldest Torah is what? And did the Dead Sea Scrolls contain Torah, or that was just other writing?
I remember when the Dead Sea Scrolls were still alive.
Did you?
No. Sorry. Wow. Don't even know what that is.
It's old.
That is super old. What are we saying?
That,
Oh, Dead Sea Scrolls.
if
I
it's
don't know if
never
that's
changed by a word,
Yeah.
how far back do we have this never changing Torah?
That would be, just Google that, like oldest scroll found. There's no, there are no, every letter is the same.
It's
Always been the same. You can't write as the law is you cannot write a Torah scroll unless you have another one in front of you. You can't write it by memory. You have to copy it. You have to write it letter by letter from another scroll. That's it.
Word by
You
word.
can't use a computer as a reference. You have to have another scroll.
Cross-checking, always editing letter by letter, word by word.
100%. Yeah. All right, we'll close it out.
I have one more question.
Oh, yeah.
So the Torah, we didn't have a Torah until the last day of Moses' life.
Correct. A complete Torah. Correct.
Complete Torah.
The Torah was in pieces, like was in sections, not
Okay,
complete.
So not everyone knew everything.
Right. That's how we scroll.
Okay.
I'm kidding. It's terrible.
Next week if I'm.
Oh, good. We'll grab some sushi and late. It's on. Come on.
I did.
Hey, Bear. Huh? Yeah, also. All right. Yes, Richard.
Couple quick things. One, when it said he wrote it immediately, is that supposed to tell us that we're supposed to have mitzvahs as quickly as possible? Is that where they get it from? You're
I
supposed
love that. I love that. Including the mitzvah of eating sushi.
Yes, I
You're not
understand.
supposed to delay.
That's 614. I'm dealing with 614. That's one thing.
No, you're right. You're 100% right. You get the mitzvah, you jump in. Good night. Lila Tov.
Good night.
Yeah, we should stay.
I should.
Yeah, we'll pair you up with someone. Yeah, we'll do some learning. Okay, good.
Quick story. Quick
What do you think?
story. Can you hear me?
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It's getting loud, but I'm with you.
okay, so this is what I've heard, that when Eisenhower liberated one of the camps,
Okay.
he asked a rabbi or one of these survivors, what's the one thing I can get you? What's the one thing you need? He said, we need lulav and etrog.
Wow.
Italy, he went to Italy, he phoned Italy, whatever, he got to Italy, and the next day there were dozens or hundreds of lulav and etrog in the camp.
Wow.
You can check that out, but yeah, I've definitely heard that. That's the first.
That's definitely an amazing story. That's powerful.
That's what they asked for.
Did I ever tell you this? Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, just very quickly. It talked about the wood chopper and the water carrot and the different levels. But in terms of Torah reading and Torah observance, aren't we all the same? Do we differentiate between levels there? Because I understand he was saying this is for the whole community, but
Right.
in the eyes of God and the eyes of Torah, are we not all Jewish souls?
That's the power of the message. Your question is the answer. In other words, if we wouldn't have differentiated, we might have said the community is like this other object, but the individual is not really, it's not really about the individual. That's where the Torah lists a bunch of different categories, as it were, to say, this is, you are part of it, you are part of it, you are part of it. It's like Oprah and cars, right? You get a car, you're part of the community, you're part of the community. Right? If you know, you know, right? That's kind of the message. The message is that it's not separating people. It's acknowledging the difference and saying, and we're all in it. You're not going anywhere. We got you. We got you, and we got you, and we got you. You're all part of this community. A community at Tzibur. Hebrew for community is Tzibur. Tzibur is an acronym, Tzaddik, Beinani, Russia. Tzibur, Tzaddik, Bet Reish. You can't have a community if you don't have a Tzaddik, a Beinani, Russia, meaning everyone's got to be there. Everyone's got to be there. That's it. That's it. It's like the Rebbe told. I said this before. You know, the Abe Sachs was a coach for the Harlem Globetrotters. Funny, when I bought my kids, going back to the Braves, I bought my kids the tickets on, I don't know, one of these websites that sells tickets, and they also sell a Strogan apparently on StubHub. I'm kidding. So I bought the kids, and like what popped up is Harlem Globetrotters. I guess they're still traveling, but back in the 80s, Abe Sachs, he's watching cable TV. I've said this before. He sees a Farbrengen of the Rebbe. It's like simulcast in English or translated, live translation. He's intrigued. He's like, I got to meet the rabbi. He goes to Crown Heights. He says, I got to meet the Rebbe. They're like, take it easy, bro. Like, you can't just pop in and like, I need to see the Rebbe. It's like, you're gonna have to wait a little bit. And so he figured out how to finagle his way in. You know, he found the right time to get in front of the Rebbe, and he said, Rebbe, the first thing he says is, Rebbe, I'm a coach. And the Rebbe says to him, perfect, we need a coach. That was like the first response, like, perfect. We've been waiting for a coach. We got one now. It's like, you're a woodchopper, great, we need a woodchopper. Some people sometimes think that when they be like, I've seen this, when people become a Baal Tshuva, like they come back to their, they rediscover their Jewishness, their Jewish roots, and they got all excited. Sometimes there's a tendency, some have, to like want to forget everything about their life up until then. It's like, I used to be a musician, but no, not kosher anymore. Now I'm just studying Torah all day. Music is no more music. I'm not gonna. 1 second, take it easy. God wants a rock star. That's that we need one of those also. We need a little metal. We need
need a dentist?
Huh?
Does he need a dentist?
God needs, yes, Jay. God needs a dentist, and he knows where to find one. He needs a dentist here. To be very clear, right here, to do Hashem's work, right? I mean, how many conversations have you and I had about you speaking to and encouraging people to rediscover their faith, rediscover their roots, study some Torah, sharing the classes. Jay, right? You're on the God Squad, right? This is Hashem needs, because rabbis, it's we're a little suspect. Let's just say we're a little suspect. It's a little clear as to what the agenda is. But when it's anyway, good. That's it. That's the message.
Yep.
The message is
great class.
Message is we got to be unified. Achdus, 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 echad, echad, echad. We got to be one. Number one. We got to be unified. We got to realize that Torah is the ultimate unifier, and what the community has, the individual has, and vice versa. It's not as socialist as it sounds. I know it sounded very socialist there for a second, but it means that we all have each other's back, and that's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful message to remember. And indeed, together, may we celebrate good times. We band together in difficult times. And on behalf of everyone, once again, want to wish Merle lots of comfort and lots of we talk about life and legacy, and indeed, your father's memory, your father's legacy should live on within you and the entire mishpacha. And indeed, it should be an incredible advocate on high to bring only blessings and to bring Mashiach. That's what we all want. That's what we all need.
Thank you.
All right. Peace in Israel. All right. We'll see you guys soon.
Ari, I wanted to tell you, it's even a legal precedent of community, the Rebbe's library. The Rebbe's library.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
They took it all the way to the Supreme Court, right?
All the way to the Supreme Court. Yeah. It's not individual property, it belongs to everybody. Yeah. All right. Lila to everybody. We'll see you guys.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you.